A battle is brewing in the Alabama legislature over teacher tenure.
One side claims that job security for teachers is at stake, but the other side says the current laws are unfair to financially strapped school systems.
Now, Fox News reporter Renee Dials has been looking into this controversy. She has tonight's special report. Renee?
Bob and Lenise, in Alabama, a teacher or other school system employee obtains tenure after working 3 years on the job. Now, what that means after that depends on who you ask. Two powerful political forces in Montgomery are butting heads on this issue. The Alabama Education Association, which is the union representing teachers, says it's all about job security. But the Alabama School Board Association says it's almost impossible to get rid of bad teachers, and abuses of the law end up wasting thousands of your tax dollars each year. Charles Lewis is accused of sexually abusing a 9-year-old boy in Baldwin County. More than a year and a half after his arrest, the former Causey Teacher of the Year is still waiting to go on trial and still collecting a paycheck from the Mobile County Public School System.
I mean, to me, it's common sense would tell you you don't pay people for not working. Why these boards do that is beyond me.
Paul Hubbard, the head of the Alabama Education Association, says it's foolish for school systems to pay employees who can't or won't work. But the school systems say it's the tenure laws backed by the AEA that make the abuses possible. Those abuses are fueling calls for change in Montgomery. Former Phoenix City teacher Carlin Miller is facing sex abuse charges after he was allegedly caught with a student in his classroom. Elizabeth Brooks, another former Alabama teacher, was convicted in February of making meth in her home. Both continued to draw paychecks for months after they were fired because they had tenure.
Phoenix City, I think, has become the poster child of the abuse of this current tenure law.
The Phoenix City school system has had its share of horror stories when it comes to tenure law abuses. A custodian worker disappeared after getting a job in another state. He challenged his firing and continued to get paid for several more months. Superintendent Dr. Larry DeShera says the employees know the law and some are clearly abusing it.
Now, the message that was sent to the employees basically was, if you ever plan to leave your current position in the school district, don't ever, ever, ever resign.
One of the most talked about abuses involved former Washington County teacher Charlene Smits. Smits was convicted of having sex with a 14-year-old student. She collected her paycheck from a prison cell for 2 years.
She even received a master's degree while in jail, and the school district had to give her a raise.
Had a case in Washington County. I wrote an editorial saying, you know, this is foolish. The person is neglecting her duty. She didn't show up for work. Charge her with that, terminate her. For that purpose, not for the criminal act, but for the fact that she's not there.
In Mobile County, one teacher took students to a ball game, drank several beers, and then had a minor accident on the way home. The school board wanted to fire the teacher, but under state tenure law, arbitrators had the last say.
The decisions seem to be open and shut, very easy to make. Any reasonable person would see that that's a firing offense, and the arbiter would come back and say 20-day suspension, put them back to work, and that's binding.
Mobile County School Superintendent Dr. Roy Nichols says what's even more frustrating is school systems can't even move a teacher to a different grade level without a lengthy and expensive process.
And our experience has been that that arbitration process takes from 6 to 8 months to clear. That's almost a whole school year. So the teacher can stay there in 3rd grade saying, no, I'm not moving, even though the children have moved on to 4th grade and that's where she's needed. That shouldn't happen.
The Alabama legislature is trying to overhaul tenure laws that have been in place for 70 years. A Senate bill that narrowly passed this month would eliminate arbitration, which was put in place in 2004. It would also give school systems more freedom when it comes to teacher layoffs when state budget cuts, known as proration, are declared. A similar House bill sponsored by Republican Chad Fincher from Sims is also pending.
We're not taking away tenure, and we're not taking away their due process.
I don't care what any politician tells you, this bill takes tenure.
Mobile County Education Director Danny Goodwin says teachers' basic rights are being threatened in Alabama.
it strips all rights from teachers and support personnel. It gives no protections. It would make it impossible for a teacher or a support person to feel safe in doing their job on a daily basis.
Goodwin says the provision that would stop teachers' paychecks during an appeal process is a major problem.
Any of them would lose everything that they had. It doesn't matter that 2 years later you come back and give them back that money after they've fought and proven themselves innocent.
Initially, both the Senate and House bills were identical. The Senate bill underwent some changes before its passage on May 5th. The House will begin debate on the bill when it returns from break next week.